Whoa, my goodness, what did we just witness? If you've seen the last Pokémon Presents on August 3rd, you'll definitely agree with me that this was the greatest Pokémon trailer we've seen in a long while. I truly enjoyed these presents and adored all the things Game Freak showed us. So much so that today I wanted to make a chill conversation type of video, explaining to you all why in my opinion Scarlet and Violet will be the best Pokémon games in the history of this franchise. Today I'm here to share my positive opinions on these games and also want to show some cool aspects and details I've caught that some of you may have not at a first glance. Let's start by stating the obvious, the graphics of these games. If you are a Pokémon fan, you should know that Game Freak and the Pokémon Company never really put much effort into the graphical aspect of their games. However, it is true to say that Pokémon always had a very recognizable and peculiar style and artistic direction. Let's take for example Pokémon Black and White. These games have gone from being hated by pretty much everyone in the community to be regarded as the best games ever. Even if I was one of the few that loved these games right when they came out, it's undeniable that these games suffered from the same problems as any other Pokémon game. I'm talking about poor graphics, lazy composition, bland world building and lack of vision. Keep in mind, these are the best so you can imagine how the others can be. I've always felt like the world building could have been so much more. Come on now. Are these empty and lifeless cities and routes acceptable in a literal fantasy world inhabited by magical creatures? Yeah, I know, Charleston Cave and other cool places exist, but in my opinion, every other location and route must have had the same quality level as these ones. Beside all of this, Black and White have a distinctive, cute and charming aura to them. We can say without any doubt that these games are very well made, even by Pokémon standards, and people started to recognize this fact only recently. For example, the 2D Pokémon sprites still are the best one we've ever seen within the series, alongside Pokémon designs and story. However, it is understandable why people never got in touch with the series before the shift from 2D to 3D. But problems did not stop with this shift. A great example of this are Sword and Shield. In my opinion, these games' locations, routes, cities and towns are all but lively and vibrant, and that's not good for a 60 euros/dollars game. Even worse if we add the 30 euros for the DLCs. So, as you might have already guessed, Pokémon games had always traveled on that thin line between good and bad. But with Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, things are going to change, and oh yes, they will. Graphics now look crisper and better than ever before. I'd lie if I told you I did not get emotional while watching the first few seconds of these presents, where a pack of Growlithe and Arcanine run free in a vast verdant meadow. The first thing I noticed is the addition of the realistic texture and properly made shadows on their 3D models, like the ones in new Pokémon Snap. These elements made them look more realistic than ever, with their fur looking incredibly soft and fluffy. In short, I think all the new models looked amazing, both Pokémon and humans. The world is also incredibly well done, but I have to admit it, with less impressive textures and elements within the models that compose it. If you look at backgrounds from a distance, they will appear as a blurry and chaotic mess like it was in Pokémon Legends Arceus. Even textures in battle terrains are unimpressive and mediocre, but all of these are nonetheless huge improvements from what we, Pokémon fans, have been used to. Believe me when I say this game will elevate the Pokémon franchise to a whole other level. Okay, maybe routes and open spaces look a little bit lifeless and the region itself may seem a little bit too empty, like only Game Freak can do them, but the level of details is, however, very high. Everything from trees, buildings, characters, you name it, are textured and modeled properly. Long gone are the days of infinite discussions on Twitter threads where angry Pokémon fans gather to fight over 3D models of trees and their low-quality textures. Hopefully, we're at the dawn of a new era. Here, let's give this map a quick look so you can see that every single tiny pixel of this region could be stepped on. I repeat, every single one. For this reason only, I think Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are more than worth their price. As you might remember, the Galar region was nothing but a straight line, with even less explorable space than its map could have led to believe at first. So, having said that, I think Scarlet and Violet are a big step forward in the right direction. I think the Paldea region offers the best and most interesting map we've ever seen. The region is filled with a multitude of different biomes, provincial villages and bustling cities with a ton of things to do, places to go, shops to visit, people and Pokémon to meet. To me, Paldea looks very similar to Galar. I feel the same rural, provincial and simple life flavor of the United Kingdom-based region. But at the same time, Paldea looks like what the Galar region should have been from the very start. That's just me, but the attention to details for the elements that make the Paldea region is unprecedented. In this scene we can see that products and goods now are displayed in the showcases of the town shops, and people all over the place are carrying on with their business and activities, and they appear as if they're real, especially with their new, never seen before idle animations. Now that I mentioned them, let's talk about animations, and to be completely honest with you, they didn't let me down for a single moment. Now, I wanted to show you this scene. When have we ever seen such cool animations in a Pokémon game? This bunch of characters look so alive and their gestures are so smooth and natural, I want to cry for how beautiful this is. I'm not joking, I'm really impressed. The sad part of this is that only a Pokémon fan can understand this feeling. In any other game, this would be basic stuff, but to me, this feels like something completely revolutionary, and we must take it as a great sign for what we can expect from Pokémon in the future. I don't know, folks, am I too impressionable? Tell me if you also noticed this peculiar scene, and tell me if you felt the same way I did. Then I wanted to talk about the new characters that we see in the trailer and how amazing their designs are. Every single one of them is peculiar and unique, and if you want to know the honest truth, I am completely in love with this girl. Game Freak, you need to chill! Scarlet and Violet made me fall in love twice already. Can you tell me when we ever had a roster of characters so cool and badass before? Like this lady has a scar on her forehead. Why did the Game Freak become so bold and daring with their designs all of the sudden? We always wanted this kind of stuff, you know? This may be bold, but I want to share with you this lovely, excellent video I've recently seen called Trans Inclusivity and Coding Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, done by the YouTuber Olan. If any of you are interested in watching this, check the comment section below as I leave the link there. In short, he explains why Grusha, the Ice-type gym leader, and Penny, our in-game classmate, may be queer coding and representing two trans people. I, as many others in fact, thought Grusha to be a girl at first, and then realized he wasn't, only after reading it on the official website. This to me is wonderful and heartwarming. As Olan says in his video, if a Pokémon game will make people of all kinds identify in some characters and as a result feel more accepted, that to me will be enough to give these games the award of best games ever. However, I'm not 100% sold on the new artistic direction Game Freak decided to follow. 3D models and official illustrations now seems to differ very much from the typical one of Ken Sugimori. This is pretty much evident if we look at Jack, the professor of this region, who will give us the Pokédex. I don't know, is it just me or does he seem to not even belong to the Pokémon franchise? Come on, look how stupid and out of place he looks. I don't know, I mean, I don't dislike this new style, but I don't like it either. Obviously, I will easily get past this and will enjoy the game nonetheless. But what do you think about it? Do you like it or not? I'm eager to know your opinions on this topic. I literally can't wait to read all your comments. As we can see from the map, Paldea seems to be the biggest and most complex region we ever had. And if you had told me that we would have been given the 2-box legendaries at presumably the beginning of the game that we get to travel on, I wouldn't have believed you. But that's the truth. So it is right to assume we'll get either Miraidon or Coraidon after completing the tutorial section of the game. It goes without saying this is unprecedented. In my opinion, Sword and Shield did a really good job introducing the box legendaries within the first minutes of gameplay. But receiving them right away? This is nuts! As I was reading this, I was completely shocked, and I'm all in favor of this kind of thing. I've always disapproved of the fact that legendary Pokémon and the stories behind them were only to be relegated to the end of the game. They were only useful to the climax of the game, when they could have appeared more often throughout the adventure instead. To me, this always felt like a missed opportunity on Game Freak's part. We need to care for these powerful Pokémon. Showing the box legendaries right off the bat, however, is a great and effective way to create that bond and interest that players seek. Am I right? Anyway, as you saw, Miraidon and Koraidon have different forms that will allow us to explore the region on different terrain conditions, such as gliding on air, swimming, running and climbing. While I was finishing writing this script, on the 21st of August, TPCi unveiled a new trailer for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet during the 2022 Pokémon World Championships that fidelly focused on new battle mechanics, items and online play. The trailer introduced a new Pokémon, the Dragon and Normal type Cyclizar, and showed off his signature move, Shut Tail, which creates a substitute before letting the user switch out from the battlefield. Putting aside the fact that this move is busted, I want to focus on Cyclizar's appearance and name. Cyclizar is the mount Pokémon, and its name is the combination of the word cycle and lizard. It is said that Cyclizar has lived alongside humans in the Paldea region since ancient times, and people riding it are a very common sight. Cyclizar to me looks way too similar to the two box legendaries Koraidon and Miraidon. I'm confident with saying that Koraidon and Miraidon are going to be the second stage evolutions of Cyclizar, and these stages here we've seen the previous trailer are the middle stages where the traits of the two legendaries have partially developed. I have no doubts about that. Come on, Cyclizar has the same wheel-like body parts as the other two, like, we got it. I think Cyclizar will be the one given to us during the first hour and a half of gameplay, and will let us traverse the huge Paldea region as if it was a bicycle. But there's one thing that puzzles me. I'm talking about the fact that Cyclizar is very common in the Paldea region, and to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting that. When I saw Cyclizar for the first time, I immediately thought of its resemblance to Kabfu, which is a very rare legendary Pokémon, and in a similar way, it is given to the player to train and treat like a companion in the Isle of Armor DLC. But if Cyclizar is widely spread all over the region, the same can't be said for Koraidon and Miraidon. So, based on this speculation of mine, I believe we, the player, thanks to the great bond established between us and Cyclizar, will make it evolve into the next stage of its evolutionary line for the first time in history, and subsequently into the final, fully developed stage we see in the box art of these games. If this ends up being true, I couldn't be happier. Even if I don't like Cyclizar's design at all, in all fairness, I don't believe this thing is even a Pokémon. I love the fact that we will be given the quote-unquote legendary of the game right away, and will have the time to bond and care for it. Keep in mind, all I'm saying are my speculations and nothing has been confirmed, so take them with a grain of salt. I don't think we will be forced to carry Cyclizar in our team to proceed with the story of the game, but leaving it behind will take away a lot of flavor from our adventure. In fact, I think even if we won't have it in our team, it will appear in cutscenes and other important scenes nonetheless. So, what do you think about Cyclizar? Do you like the idea of Miraidon and Koraidon to be the second stage evolution of this Pokémon? Tell me what you think in the comment section below, and while you're there, tell me which was your favorite new item that was revealed during this trailer and why. Another thing I want to mention are the numerous ancient-looking towers scattered all over the region. Some of them are intact, some are in ruins, and some others are half buried in the ground. As I already said in other videos of mine, these towers remind me of Sheikah Towers from The Legend of Zelda. Not only that, I'm sure they will also share the same function. As it was in The Legend of Zelda, these towers will give the player high advantage points to teleport at any moment from everywhere in the map. And most importantly, install in the same way as Link does, data onto our Rotom phone that will give us detailed information for the map of the surrounding area. Well then, are Scarlet and Violet the best Pokémon games yet? If your answer is no, you should listen to this epiphany I had while writing the script of the video. As you can see from the Pokémon Presents, the two new mascot legendaries looks very different from their box art illustrations. They seem younger and smaller version of their final form. I was looking for answers, and then these two scenes appeared on screen and something clicked in my mind. The first seems to be a plus scene where the main protagonist and Arven are looking for terrestrial materials during a treasure hunt quest in a rocky area. Also, I must say, Arven looks very similar to the adventurer class NPCs in Sword and Shield. I think he might just be a relative of the Digging Duo brothers or that one dude in the wild area that sells you cooking ingredients. I mean, it would be perfect as Arven happens to be a cook. The second scene shows us Miraidon and Koraidon changing form in the proximity of a cave. I think the terrestrial phenomenon must have something to do with their evolution or change of form. The details that may answer this question are the angry looking eyes symbol found on top of the terrestrial crowns. This looks exactly the same as the Alpha Pokémon symbol from Pokémon Legends Arceus. I don't know if this was meant to be, I haven't completed Pokémon Legends Arceus yet, so I don't know if and how the existence of Alpha Pokémon is explained or not. But as every other gimmicks we had in the past, I know these are all linked to a common theme, Infinity Energy. And here's my theory. In short, I think terrestrial crystals will be crystallized chunks of infinite energy that take the form of minerals. This may be a hint toward the third legendary of the trio and its typing. I'm actually confident in saying this legendary Pokémon is going to be vicious and dangerous, residing in the depths of the earth. Since terrestrial Pokémon can change their type into their Tera type, I think this legendary Pokémon will be Dragon and Rock type, but with its Tera type the combination of all 18 types, in a new elemental form I call the Rainbow type. I talked about the Rainbow type over on this video, give it a watch if you haven't already and let me know what you think of it. However, since the gimmick of these games is the terrestrial phenomenon and the word Tera in Greek means monster, I think we can expect this legendary to have the word Tera in its name. This will explain the huge crater we find, all covered up with swirling clouds in the middle of the Paldea region. I think this crater is the crash site where the meteor with this legendary inside of it hit the Earth like it was for Curem in Unova and Eternatus in Galar, and the opening from where it made its way to the deep layers of the region. Research labs and other similar facilities are found near the crater monitoring the area. This object, very similar to a weather balloon, most likely collects data from inside to know if something down there moves or is going to rise up. I've speculated further on this topic in this old video of mine. If you are interested, go watch this one too. The link is in the description. If terrestrialization will be the only means to make Koraidon and Miraidon reach their final form, I think it will give other Pokémon the chance to change form too, like it was for Dynamax and Mega Evolution. What are your opinions on this theory and on the terrestrial phenomenon in general? I think crystallized Pokémon looks cool. The animation and the visual effects of terrestrialization are very well made, but those jeweled crowns are way too silly for me. When you look at Quaxly with its huge water crown, you cannot think of how cute it is, but at the same time you're like, ew, was it really necessary? A cool thing to mention is that in order to activate the terrestrial phenomenon, we need a certain item called Tera Orb. This orb has the appearance of a normal Pokéball, but is completely black and has a crystal inside it, along a different eject button in the center. It is said that only a few selected trainers are allowed to carry this special item. And what's so strange, you may ask? We've always needed a specific object to activate a new gimmick, and this game is no different. But I'd say this item is way cooler. The reason is very simple. Once we terrestrialize a Pokémon in battle, our Tera Orb will lose all its terrestrial energy, and we won't be able to use it again until it's recharged. In order to charge it, we have to touch crystals overflowing with terrestrial energy or go to a Pokémon Center. I think this new approach is awesome, smart, and shouldn't be taken for granted. In short, we will be able to use terrestrialization every time we want to do so, but with a drawback. If you're like me and always craved a little bit more of a challenge in Pokémon games, you will immediately get why this change is so big. The player now has to keep in mind that once activated, the Tera Orb won't be viable until it's recharged. I believe this change will make the game a little bit more balanced and fair, because now the player is forced to think twice before tapping into the power of the Tera Orb. Imagine doing an Azoth challenge and losing one or more Pokémon in your team because you used the Terrestrial Gimmick and wasting it in a very simple battle, and the area you're at doesn't have Pokémon centers or overflowing crystals to charge your Tera Orb. This makes things way more interesting, and I can't wait to see the effects and repercussions on my adventure. Anyway, tell me what you think about the terrestrial phenomenon. Do you like it? What do you think about these jeweled crowns? Let me know in the comment section below. Next, let's talk about the improvements we are seeing in this main series installation. Game Freak seems to have heard the request we, as a community, shouted aloud for many years and applied some of the best changes the Pokémon formula needed. Let's start with the most obvious one. It took a long time, but finally Scarlet and Violet are going to be the first fully fledged RPG open world Pokémon games ever. As such, there are going to be so many different paths a player can tackle on their adventure. Not only that, there will be 8 gyms spread across the region, and for the first time in the history of this franchise, we will be able to choose the order to defeat them. There are other 2 grand stories beside the pursuit of becoming the champion of the region, and we will be allowed to go back and forth between all 3 stories, making our adventure different from the one of any other. If we already know the gym challenge and the treasure hunt will be 2 of the stories available in the games, the last one seems to have something to do with our friend Nemona, since her story seems shrouded by mystery, but I'm not sure about that. It goes without saying how revolutionary all of this is. My holy hope is that these 3 stories will be interesting and will keep me motivated to play, and expect this to last 25 hours at least. Then there are some 3D models corrections. I'm obviously talking about our long boy Electros, finally making an appearance since I don't know even when, and most importantly, it stopped swimming in the air and finally reached the ground once again. Even if it has the levitate ability, but that's fine, this is the way we like it. Ghastly keeps its fantastic gas cloud from Pokémon Legends Arceus, but with a different tone in color. Then some other familiar faces make their appearance once again. I'm talking about Skiddo and Gogoat, Cacnea and Cacturne, Deerling and Sosbach, which, by the way, will have a different seasonal form based on the area they're in. I know what you're thinking. No, I don't think Game Freak is going to reintroduce seasons in these games. Yeah, it's a shame. Then there are Makuhita and Hariyama, the Electros line as I've already said, Fanfi and Donphan, Pineco and Farretress, and a bunch of others, but can you tell me what's happening with Luxray's tail? I feel so bad for it, it must hurt a lot. And this isn't all. As I said in this video here, I expected the Scarlet and Violet to focus deeply on the multiplayer aspect, especially because we had hints of this from the very first trailer. As if it isn't clear enough, I can't wait to play online and explore this immense region in a team of 4. I just hope the multiplayer interactions between players won't be like the one in Sword and Shield.
Let me see the tongue, oh my god! Oh man, no man! What the hell? Oh my god, no way, yeah.
Actually, thinking about it, there weren't any interactions at all what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's not clear yet what else players can do other than trade and fight. Yes, the official website says that we and up to 3 other players can adventure together in the same space, showing others the Pokémon we choose to work with and cheer each other on as someone in the group is battling against wild Pokémon. Looking at it, it's not much, but compared to Sword and Shield, is a lot. Maybe playing together will give some kind of bonus or advantage. Even if this may seem boring and not impressive at all, I think going out with friends could bring some quite memorable moments, and immortalizing those moments with the new camera feature in our Rotom phone is going to be pretty fun. In fact, the camera feature was my favorite as soon as I saw it. I can't wait to take pictures all over the region with my friends I'm going to make along the journey. And most of all, I can't wait to show off my amazing outfits. I'm already in love with these attire, suits, dresses and uniforms. I literally can't wait to spend all my hard-earned money. Customization too is going to be wild, as it has already been confirmed we will be able to change our eyes, mouth shape and more, in addition to our hair and eyebrows color, to look the way we truly want. But the most important news has to be the return of the best feature of Gen 8, raid battles. When I first saw the raids coming back, I couldn't believe my eyes. Raids are my favorite way to catch Pokémon and farm items, whether I do it online or by myself, even though I don't have many friends to play with. We already know that raids in Scarlet and Violet have been improved significantly, since the trailer showed us player can attack, heal and cheer for a maximum of 3 times per battle, without having to wait for other players' turn to finish. This detail is so revolutionary that my brain fails to process it even now. The official website does not explain further, but adds cheering as another option we can do in raids, which is basically what we had to do in Sword and Shield when our Pokémon got KO'd by the Wild Dynamax Pokémon. Cheering will expand our options in battles, as there are 3 kinds of cheers we can use, and they all affect our Pokémon and allies. The effects vary from boosting our Pokémon attack stats and defense stats to healing. Anybody can cheer, and this is huge because everyone can bring hyper-offensive mons into battle and still be able to support the team and vice versa, with the only drawback of being able to cheer for a total of 3 times per battle. They don't explain how Pokémon are capable of attacking without waiting for other players to choose their moves, but I think Tera raids won't take turns in consideration and transform the battlefield into a free-for-all zone where the fastest player to choose their best move wins. This will fix the annoying problem of finding trolls online that use all the available time to choose their moves, or worst of all, start attacking members of the party to make everyone lose. It happened to me quite a lot, and I can assure you it's the most infuriating thing ever. Not only because it makes things so much harder, but also because I hate wasting valuable time. I know we will find trolls in Tera raids too, but now that there isn't a turn order, they will have to come up with something new to troll us with. I'm hyped. I know I said it 100 times, but I can't wait to play these games and do a lot of Tera raids with people, farm useful items and catch a lot of different Tera Pokémon. My dream will be to stream it live with you, but I know I can't because of my poor internet connection. But now it's your turn. Do you enjoy raid battles? Are you hyped for this new version of raid battles? Let me know with a comment and tell me which terastallized Pokémon you want the most. To be honest, I will probably choose a type that will get rid of the 4-time super effective weaknesses. For example, a ground-type Parasect with dry skin is pretty much unstoppable. Can you imagine all of the endless possibilities? Now I would like to talk about the new Pokémon we've seen so far, and what can I say, they're all amazing. I love all the new designs, but my favorites so far are the 3 starters and the legendary Pokémon Koraidon. Even if in its quote-unquote youngest form is a little bit too silly and goofy, especially when it runs with those sloppy legs. I'm not going to go into detail about the others, but if you want to know more, you should check out the official website and take a look at the Pokémon section. I hope we will get 80-90 new Pokémon. That should be the perfect amount to me, and based on the look of the new designs, I think we're about to get one of the best regional Pokédex in recent years. I mentioned the Pokédex, so why don't we talk about it? It may seem repetitive, but this Pokédex right here has all it takes to be the ultimate version of our digital encyclopedia. In Sun and Moon, Game Freak had the brilliant idea to introduce the Rotom Dex, a Pokédex possessed by a Rotom. The idea was great, but clunky in its first appearance, but they liked the idea so much and repurposed it in a slightly new form in Sword and Shield, where Rotom possesses a phone filled with useful apps for our adventure. I'm glad to see it return in Scarlet and Violet in its final, enhanced form. Yes, because now the new Rotom phone includes a mini-map that will show the exact position of the main character in the right corner of the screen. Needless to say how useful this function is, especially in an open-world game. Just knowing that we won't get a migraine trying to figure out where we are is truly amazing. This should have come earlier in the series, but at least now we have screen space for it. In my opinion, this feature is single-handedly worth the price of the games. I think I said something similar earlier. From the look of it, I believe the new Pokédex is going to be similar to a bestiary, like the popular Middle Ages compendium of beasts. Each Pokémon in fact is represented with its own book, which takes place on the Pokédex shelf, and it will be our job to fill our bookcase in order to complete our new compendium. I really like the style of the new Pokédex, and its librarian theme matches perfectly with the fact that we're students in the oldest school in Paldea. Since the Rotom phone now has a camera, I believe this version of the Pokédex will allow the player to change the covers of every dex entry with the pictures we took during our adventure. And more to that, I think you will be required to take pictures at Pokémon to study their wildlife behaviors in order to fill brand new dex entries, similarly to the ones in new Pokémon Snap or Legends Arceus. It is highly possible this Pokédex will function in the same way as the compendium in Breath of the Wild, where we have to take pictures of beasts, plants, animals and items. And if this is going to be a thing, I will lose my mind. The only thing I ask is a silent Rotom phone. I still have PTSD thanks to the Gen 7 Rotom Dex. That thing wouldn't shut its freaking mouth. And those blinding yellow eyes, I swear, I hate it so much.
Talk less. What? Smile more.
Now it's time to talk about the evil team. The problem is we haven't seen one yet, or rather, we don't think we've seen one. To be clear, nothing I'm going to say is confirmed in any way, shape or form, and these are just my speculations, based on what we've seen in these presents. Let's start with this scene, and oh boy, what's even happening here? Let me read this picture for you. A freaking bus with a disproportionately huge engine coming out of its hood, with two massive tailpipes attached to it, it's bursting flames out of them. The vehicle is filled with speakers, no one is driving it, and it seems to be causing havoc in the area. We don't know if this is going to be related to the evil team of the region yet, but this reminds me of Team Yell so much it isn't not even funny. I saw people on the internet saying the bus drives itself because the engine is a Pokémon. I hope these rumors are true because that would be dope. Then the trailer shows us a barricaded area with the same flags and flames designs we've seen on the bus from earlier. This location reminded me a lot of those survivor camps you can find in zombie post-apocalyptic games. What the hell? The question is, what does the evil team have to do with the racing team style? This bus came straight out from Mad Max and with the Paldea region. Is it going to be an evil team at all? As I said in this video here, I thought the star symbol to be the one for the special research laboratories found near the huge crater in the middle of the region. The S inside made me think of the word space, as at the time I theorized this game's story would have had a deep focus on space and space exploration. Now that my theory has been proven wrong, I get why they choose the racing team style with a motorcycle and a hoverbike legendary Pokémon. Still, the meaning of the spiderweb symbol we've seen in the first trailer remains unknown, and I believe this symbol probably belongs to the evil team organization working in Paldea. If you think of it, it is good that Game Freak didn't show too much about all these things. It is right to leave things to imagination. I just hope that it's going to be good. Folks, we arrived at the end of this video. Before going on with the conclusion, I'd like to thank my fellow Yellow Hugo for proofreading and correcting this script. If you like shiny hunting, challenge videos, nuzlockes, you name it, and you're looking for a kind and warm-hearted human being on the internet, I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. Anyway, now that you know all the possible reasons why Scarlet and Violet are going to be the best Pokémon titles ever, I hope you're just as eager as I am to play these games. Let me know your opinions and tell me which version you're going to choose and why. Leave all your answers in the comment section below, and if you liked the video, please also leave a like and subscribe. It will be very much appreciated, and by doing so you will help my channel grow. So that's all I've got. I'm hyped, I can't wait to play this game. I see you all in the next video. Bye!